Hi there, it's Shell with Little Acres Creations, and I am going to kind of show you how to do some masking. I've recently done this card, but this one has dimension on it, and I'm doing a couple of envelopes, and I don't want dimension on it, so I'm going to show you guys how I do masking so that you can recreate this design on an envelope. So I've had a couple of people ask me about how I did that, and the first one I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a very simple one. So I just have some copy paper. It's just a thin paper. I don't have like any masking paper or anything like that. However, I do suggest that you use a MISTI. So I'm going to use this MISTI, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make myself a mask. Very simple. Just using some of my Lawn Fundamentals Jet Black ink. I like this ink because it is water friendly, so if you want to do watercolor or if you want to do Copic, it doesn't smear when you do Copic, so it's also Copic friendly. And I kind of like the idea of not having to have two different kinds of inks. So I've really been investing in several of these Lawn Fundamentals inks. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and make myself a mask. So I really just need the cup, but I went ahead and inked the whole thing up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to make sure that it's good enough for me to, you know, see. And it moved. So I'm going to go ahead and redo that. I just want to make sure it's good enough to see and it's dark enough so I can cut out around the edges. If it's not, then it's not going to do me any good. So try it one more time and just kind of ink up my cup. See if I can get that this time. The other one, this one right here, was just a little light. So, you know, maybe I could have made it work, but I just want to make sure it's, you know, a good mask so I know what I'm focusing on. So when I just have a wet paper towel, it's half wet, half dry, I'm just going to go ahead and wipe off my stamp. I'm going to wipe off the whole thing. If you have a baby wipe, that would work too. But my baby wipes are out, and I keep forgetting to pick some up. So I try not to like rub too much with the paper towel because it does leave, you know, bits and pieces of paper. But you do pretty much want a pretty clean stamp, especially for this. Okay, so here's my stamp. And I'm going to look at this one over here. Now, you kind of want to look at what you want to come first. So that would be, that would be the bottom cup is going to be at the forefront of the image. So I see from the back, so I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to cut out the T and just kind of cut just a little bit on the left side and the right side. I'm going to cut around and then above the handle. So I'm going to cut that out. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do a whole lot of cutting because for this one, I'm just going to be on the top part of my cup. However, if you were going to maybe stamp a doily or something on top of the cup and you wanted the doily to look like it was behind it, then you would cut out the whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. And I'm just using some spring-loaded scissors. They seem to work best. So and I'm just going to kind of just cut just a little bit, keep a little bit of the cup, come to the forefront, and just cut out this whole piece right here. And then just kind of at an angle And then I'm just going to follow it down just a little bit. Don't need it too much. Okay. But when you're masking, you just want to make sure that what you want to pop up first in your masking. So the first thing I want is that bottom cup. So now, like I said, a MISTI is very helpful, or a stamping positioning tool, when you're masking. So I went ahead and I used my envelope punch board and I made some A2 envelopes. So if I were to put this card in there, it will fit. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that over the way I want it. Let's go ahead and put this down at the corner. That way, if it does have a tendency to shift, it's not going to mess up my whole project. Because I know that when I come back to restamp, I'll put it way down at the bottom. So again, you want to make sure you have a clean stamp, otherwise you're going to have a big mess. Position your stamp, and that's going to be where our first stamp is going to be. Okay. Now, you can do this of two ways. Now, the only part you want to stamp is, let's make sure I'm in frame, is the cup. You don't want anything past the cup. So you can go ahead and use your ink and just get that part that you want. Let's see, go up just a little bit. And then what I like to do is just use my napkin, and especially if you have something you can see through, you can kind of see if it's too dark in certain areas. Like I have a little bit on the spoon, but if you wanted to, you could cover all this up. So I'm just going to wipe away what I don't want to stamp, because I do want a really nice crisp stamp. Okay, now I'm going to just put this over here, push it down, and I'll probably have to do it more than once, but we'll see how it turns out. And that's a pretty good stamp. Make sure everything's lined up again. I'm going to go ahead and ink it up one more time and wipe it as I need to. But if that doesn't work, let me show you. You know the part that we cut off? Here it is. This is the piece that we cut off earlier. You can lay that down. Actually, you kind of want to lay it print side up, because that's how you printed. And then you can put your ink. Now, depending on how wet your ink pad is, sometimes it will go through this paper. So I do go ahead with my paper towel and just kind of wipe it again, just to make sure that I'm going to have a good coverage without a big mess. Because this does take a little bit longer, of course, because it is, because we are doing some masking. So you want to make sure and get it a good, you don't want to mess up the whole thing and have to restart. Okay, now that looks really good. Okay, and like on the top right here, let's see, let me move this up just a little bit. The top right here, if it's not quite connecting, that's okay, because you can draw it in with, you know, either a Copic friendly pen or a water friendly pen, whichever one you're going to use. Okay, so I removed my stamp. It's down here now. And I'm just going to wipe that clean. Especially anything above it. But the main reason is because I'm fixing to reposition that on my white paper again. And I don't want to have black ink marks. So I'm just making sure it's all good and clean. Now this is where our mask is going to come in. Okay, if you want to and you feel confident about it, you can go ahead and just place your mask right on top of your cup. That's fine with me. That doesn't bother me. If you have some washi tape, in fact, let me get some washi tape and show you how you can do that. You can use some washi tape if you want to just keep it in place. And you just want to line up so that it's just lined up with all the areas. And if you do use washi here, make sure it's not high tack. If it is really tacky, go ahead and put it on your skin. Kind of remove some of the stick. There's a liquid masking fluid. You could cover it with that. Or you can just get, you know, the sticky masking paper. You can use a 2-way glue that is repositionable once it's dry. So there's several different ways that you can tack it on there. So you want to make sure again that your stamp is really clean, and you just kind of want to position it on in your cup or whatever you're doing. You want to position it there. So make sure my washi tape stays down, and this is going to bring the bottom cup to the forefront. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. Make sure it's down in the corner. And this is where you do the exact same thing. You're going to just stay on the bottom part of the cup, because I'm going to do 3 cups here. So you can stay at the bottom part of the cup. Or again, you can use your little masks that we cut out earlier. Okay, you want to go ahead and clean your stamp again. And now I'm going to just rearrange my bottom mask. Also, depending on what ink you're using, you want to be cautious that you don't touch it directly after, because it may smear. So you want to give it a little bit of drying time. We're going to put, and there we go. And see how this is to the forefront. This is to the back, but I want this one to be in front of the next cup. And that's mainly what you need to know about masking. So, and since I'm just going to worry about this piece, this cup, and I don't worry about the bottom cup, I only need 1 mask. However, if you're doing like a intricate one, you may need more than 1 mask. I have used like 4 or 5. Okay, on this one, it's going to be fairly easy, because what you're going to do is you're going to position your stamp in here again. Make sure it's where you want it. And I really want it, kind of turn it. I kind of want the handle to show a little bit better. So I'm going to just put it like that. Okay, now this one we're going to ink the whole thing, because I do want the little mouse. Get it in really good position. And this is the easiest part. And that looks really good. So let's go ahead and remove this out of the way. We're done with our stamp. And we're just going to pull off the mask, and then there we have our stacked cups. So as you can see, I didn't quite get my lines, but I will come back later with that just to kind of complete the design. And then you just color it up. One thing I did too on my last envelope is I kind of wanted it to look sketchy. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead, grab my Copics, and we're going to complete this envelope. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to this. It's a wide mouth jar. You know, we live on a farm. So I do some canning, and I have jars like this. You can use anything that is round, or, you know, or whatever shape you want to do. So I'm just going to use this round, just kind of position it, and I'm going to start at one handle, go all the way around. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then stop over here. Now what I do like about this is you can kind of make it sketchy, so kind of like a, which I think was fun, and the last one I did, just kind of go around your little circle. So if you do mess up and it just doesn't look the way you want it to do, find other ways to fix it. Okay, and then I want to bring some of these red over here, so I'm just going to kind of just draw me some flowers. So I'm going to do a smaller one here, maybe a bigger one here, then a medium, kind of copying that one, and then a small one. Kind of will help balance it. I'm going to do just some little circles in my middle of the flowers. You can do the same thing down here. Kind of will add just a little bit kind of sketchiness. Just go around it twice each petal. I like that look. And just kind of and it just adds just some kind of artistic feel to it. That's kind of what I like. In fact, I'm going to go over each of these again. kind of just doodling, you know, just a little bit here and there. Okay, and then on the cups, I'm just going to kind of complete them. And since they're kind of wavy, it's not that big of a deal. So, just kind of, this one goes to the bottom, kind of up, just to kind of complete them. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and color that in. And that looks pretty good. And if you want these to kind of look sketchy too, then, you know, just like if you didn't get a good mark, then go ahead, use your little pen, just kind of sketch around it. I think it's fun. It kind of gives it more of an artistic look. You know, just, you don't have to be perfect. You can do however you want to do. If you do want it to be perfect, then skip this. I just kind of liked the sketchy feel of it. So, and you know, it's kind of fun to me to just doodle. So, and then just kind of, you know, if you mess up, then, you know, this is a fun way to kind of fix it and make it look like it was intentional. That's what I like about it. So, let's see. I want my red that I used earlier, which is R46 right there. And I'm not going to do anything huge. I'm just going to kind of fill in my little petals just to bring some color over here. But if there's like highlights and stuff, I like that. So. And then I'm just going to grab a green. It doesn't have to be the right size, just to kind of fill in the center. One reason I did her dress yellow was because I didn't want it to look like a Christmas envelope, since I chose red and green. I have this funny story. My grandmother, she wasn't really into like yard sales and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and just make these a little bit thicker. She wasn't really into yard sales and stuff like that, but she did go to this one yard sale with, I think her friend wanted to go or something. So let me go get and show you why I did red and green here. Just wanted a little bit of a thicker line. Okay, but let me go grab a cup. Okay, so she went to this yard sale, and where she lived in Texas. It was a big college town. Well, she found a whole set. I mean, it was like an 8-piece dinner set with soup tureen and everything like that for $10. So the college kids were selling it for $10. Has the gold in the inside. And she bought it because she fell in love with the design. Well, they did some research and found out that the set that she had purchased for $10 was worth over $1,000. And since I was the oldest granddaughter, she had 3 granddaughters, and since I was the oldest granddaughter, she gave me the set as my inheritance from her. So I just wanted to show you guys that. That's one reason I went with red and green. I just thought that would be a really cute color. So aren't those beautiful? So I thought that was a fun. She was so proud of that. I mean, even like on her deathbed. Michelle, do you have a place to put these? So we did. We ended up getting a china cabinet and stuff. You know, that was 5 years ago or something. We did get a beautiful china cabinet just to put her china in. So it was fun. So anyways, what I would do next is I just come in here, put my address. If you're not good at lettering, one thing you can do is go on the internet and just look up fancy lettering and just kind of copy what they did. I think that's a fun way. You get to learn different lettering. Some of them, you know, are kind of messy and artistic, and you can find something that will fit. So I hope this helped you guys who were wondering how to do masking, what what you needed to do to get started, and in what category you did it. So again, you just want to start with the object you want to pop out first. So like if you're doing a dog and you want a certain dog to be in the front of the crowd, then mask him first, stamp around him, and then mask those, and that's a really good way. And I do have planned to come back and do another masking technique. It's a little bit harder, but it's not that bad. But where we do the blue, just the roses, we can do those in blue and then do the outer edges in black. And it's a little more complicated, but it's not bad. So hope you guys like this. Let me know if you'd be interested in this technique where we do the blue and the black. And I will, if I have enough interest, I will do a tutorial for that. So I hope you guys like this, and I hope whoever I send it to likes it too. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day. And please subscribe.